Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. Well, I hope you had a safe and happy 4th of July, that you got to spend time with your loved ones and fellowship with them and enjoy being in this great country and realize that we are blessed to be here. The heat's back here in Oklahoma. For a few days it was cooler, not cool, but cooler than it was, and the humidity had backed off some, but it's back with a vengeance. We were able to set out 4th of July evening and it wasn't too bad. We did have some portable water coolers going, and that kept it relatively nice and cool, but the humidity had died down too, and so it wasn't too bad. But it came back on Monday with a vengeance, and this is Tuesday, of course, and we're having to do our strenuous stuff early in the morning and late in the evening, and then during the hottest part of the day, find the projects that we can do that just keeps us from being just out in that hot weather. And I hope that all of you all are drinking plenty of water and finding you a shade tree if you can to try to stay cool. And I know some of you are in way hotter temperatures than what we are, and I'm thinking about you. We've had some of our subscribers talk about how they are having as hard a time where they are with this heat than what Oklahoma and Texas had with that really terrible cold spell that we had back in the beginning of the year. And they're not used to this kind of weather, and so they can't get their hands on air conditioners, and they can't get some of the things that we in the South have because we're used to the heat, and have, used to it being so crazy hot. And so it just kind of flip-flopped. Now they're experiencing those things, and I'm thinking about them. I know that it has to be bad, and maybe, hopefully here soon, it'll lift for them. But that's a lesson for us, isn't it? For us to try to be prepared for all things, and we may not be able to have everything, all the food, all of the resources, all of the things. But if we can think about scenarios and say, what if it did get this way? And I think we need to ask ourselves that sometimes. And I think we might mess up if we don't think something could happen here. For instance, that cold weather, brutally cold weather. We were caught off guard on a lot of things because it doesn't normally do that. And so now that's something that we have to think about. Those up north, way up north, some of my girlfriends are up in Canada, and they're experiencing these things that they're not used to, and so they have to think about those things. And so we have to get to where we have to think, we have to go over these scenarios and just know that it's not something that's normal, but it's something that could happen, and we can try to prepare for it the best that we can. So anyway, I'm hoping that you guys up north that are experiencing such extreme temperatures that you're not used to, that'll lift soon, and that y'all will have some relief. So I've been out working cows this morning. I've had a group of people here helping. Papa Tex and my sister, not my sister-in-law, my daughter-in-law Cheyenne was here for a while. My niece and her husband, and Blade's off working, and so he wasn't able to be here. But anyway, we worked those cows, and woo, it got so hot out there. But it was time to get them through run them through the chutes, and to get them sprayed for horseflies and biting flies and all that kind of stuff, ticks, and you can also do that with their feed. And also we have those hanging tubes. I'm sure you've probably seen them if you ever went by farms. They have these tubes, and it has this powder in it, and the cows walk under it, and it rubs their head and down their back, and all of that kind of stuff helps. And so we got them through the chutes today and got them sprayed down, and that gives us opportunity too to really look closely at them you know, one thing, you can look at them out in the field and see them, but then when you get them in the chutes, you can look at them more closely and you can see if there's any kind of issues with them. If, you know, you might have one come through that's got a limp, and you need to, you know, check a hoof and see if there's something wrong with it. You can, you know, look, you can just see their body up close to see if there's any kind of issues that you need to take care of. And so we got those cows all through, and we had to work our little calves. We've had a bumper crop of calves born this year, and we've been blessed, and I am giving the Lord thanks and praise for it. And we've had some beautiful calves. Had a few that didn't survive, but for the most part we've been fortunate, and a beautiful calf crop. And so we had to get the newest ones worked and get all of the things that they need to have done with them. We got that done, and then we've all kind of went to our separate households to cool off. The cows are out in the pasture, and you can always tell if they're comfortable and they're happy. They're out there under the shade trees laying down and chewing their cud, and their babies are laying there beside them, and so that's always good to see. And I'm here in my recliner, and I'm guarantee Papa Tex is in his recliner, and then my Cheyenne's had to go to work. But anyway, in here in just a little bit, I have something else I have to go do, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. Saturday, I went about my day and making preparations to have family here for Sunday, and you know, I had to get my Sunday school lesson and all those different things that have to be taken care of. But I got my phone. I got a message on my phone, and it was an alert from the bank. A fraud alert. And so pretty soon after I did what I needed to do with this message that I got, well, the bank called and they wanted to go over the charges with me. And so out of 5 charges, 3 of the charges were fraudulent charges from San Francisco, California. And I got tickled about it. Not that they were trying to get my money, but I got tickled because, you know, 2 of the charges were here in Gore, Oklahoma, and the other 3 were all the way out in San Francisco, and they were all 3 charges for Uber. And so I told the first person that I spoke with, I ended up speaking with 2 different individuals. The first person was a young guy, and I got tickled, and I said, "Sir," I said, "I live in a rural area, and I've never even seen an Uber vehicle. And now I know what the company is. I'm not that much in the dark, but I've never seen one. You know, Howie and I have traveled to a few different places when we had our franchise business, and we'd have to go to franchise meetings, and we were ducks out of water, fish out of water, whatever you wanted to call us. We were not, you know, we were fresh off the farm. And, you know, we ran into our first valet parking and our first revolving door and all of those kind of things. We you know, we just stared at in wide-eyed wonder. And, you know, we first went to Union Station there in St. Louis, and we were still just so amazed at all the things that we were seeing because we hadn't been very many places. So the first time I ever seen a real taxi, I thought that I had really seen something. So, you know, I haven't seen an Uber vehicle. But anyway, I've got those 3 charges on there. And because they're fraudulent charges, they've shut my, temporarily shut all my stuff down. And I have to go to the bank after I get this video uploaded. I have to go to the bank and get all that stuff taken care of. And I haven't been too worried about it because the bank caught it. But the more I think about it, it really starts to make me mad. And I thought, that's what I want to talk about today. It took me a little while, but I was thinking it over in my head. And you know, it makes me mad to think that there are people out there that would rather steal from me and what I've worked for and what Howie worked for than to go to work for themselves and to support themselves and their family honestly. They would rather steal from me. And I'm sure you guys are the same way. You would be that way too. So I started thinking about thieves and people stealing. And I thought I gotta have some stories, and so I came up with a few stories for you. But the first one that I thought about was when I was a young woman, when I was just graduated from high school. My very first, now I babysat for years, and I picked blueberries, and I worked at the blueberry farm in the packing sheds. But my first official go to work and clock in job was in a nursing home as a CNA. And I worked on the third shift, and I had my little patients, and I just loved them. And I had a little lady that she was 101 years old. And one night she needed to, I needed to help her. And so I was cleaning her up, and, I rolled her over to clean her backside. And her backside had all these little black specks all over it. And she was a character. She really was. I loved her, but she was a character. And so I asked her what those little black dots were. And she told me that when she was a young girl, they were hungry, and there was things going on in her family. And my goodness, let's see, that was 1988 that I would have been in contact with her, and she was 101. So that was in the late 1800s that she was a young girl. And so she said that her family was hungry, and that she went to a neighbor's and she'd stole the chicken. And she was climbing over the fence when she was shot. And all of that was still in her behind. That, I don't know if it was just scars or what it was. But she just laughed and laughed about it. And I guess she had lived a long enough life then that she could laugh. And I hope that she got past the point of where she thought she had to steal. And I know that there are people in this life that get desperate enough that they don't think that they have any options. But we know that there are entities that could help. There are, your neighbors. Now, I would like to think that if somebody was hungry, that a family was hungry, no doubt they had probably neighbors around them that knew the dire situation that they were in, that perhaps family members could have helped them. But you never know. They might have all been in the same shape and not able to help. Or sometimes people frowned on accepting charity. But she was going to have to go home to her mama and bring her mama home a chicken. And I'm sure mama was going to wonder where in the world she got that chicken from. You hear on the news all the time, and you see on Facebook and different social media outlets where people are showing pictures of their vehicles or their trailers or their UTVs or their ATVs or farm animals, different things that have been stolen just right out of people's yards. And it seems like people are getting braver and braver and braver to just pull up and hook up to whatever it is that you have sitting there in your yard and take off with it. And I have several things, and I try to be very careful about leaving things that would be easy access to others. And it kind of angers you when you think about, you're not being able to trust people to leave the things in your yard. They belong to you. Sometimes people will steal money, like they did with me with the bank. And sometimes they'll steal food, like they did, like this little lady I just told you the story about that stole the chicken because she was hungry. Now, sometimes people steal because they desire to have something perhaps that they've never been able to afford. And it makes me think of this story that Papa Tex tells from when he was a little boy. And his older sisters, were helping this lady clean her house. And I don't know if it was their school teacher or if it was just the lady that lived up here by the school. But they were helping her. And they took some cookies. I got a package of cookies. And when they got caught, their mama, Papa Tex's mama, made them apologize to the teacher or to this lady. And Tex, Tex was younger. I don't even know if he was in school yet, but he says that he was made to apologize as well. And so when he apologized, he told her, he said, "Me didn't steal them, but me helped eat them." And it is a funny story. It's humorous to think about him as a little boy and having to apologize. But you know, it makes me think that his mama, he was blessed with his mama. I never knew her. She passed away right before Howie was born. But it makes me happy to know that she was the type of woman that made those kids apologize for taking something that didn't belong to them. That's what we need in this nation today, is parents and grandparents to take on the responsibility of teaching their children right from wrong. So many let the school system take care of that, or other entities take care of that. And we need to stand up as parents and grandparents and say, you're not going to do that. You're going to live this way. When you grow up and you get out of your parents' home and you go a different direction, well, that's on you. But until then, it's their parents or grandparents, sometimes grandparents, and sometimes it takes the parents and the grandparents to say, this is how we're going to live. Now, I like Aesop's fables, and I used to read them. When I was a kid, I read them all the time. I love them. And there's this one story that sticks with me about this boy and his mama. Now, this boy had a stealing problem. And one day he took a book when he was at school. Now, this is Josie paraphrasing, so I may not get it totally exactly right. But anyway, he stole the book and he brought it home from school. And his mama saw the book, and instead of getting on to the boy, the next day she took the book and she sold the book. The boy continued to steal, and he stole a cloak for her and brought it home, and she was so joyful when he brought it home, and she liked the cloak, the coat. There was no punishment for the boy. She just said, well, no one saw you, it's okay. And so he continued to steal, this pattern all throughout his life, until one day he got caught stealing, and he was sentenced to be executed. So they were gathered around, the crowd was gathered to watch him be executed, and he asked the guards if he could talk to his mama. So his mama drew near, and he said, "Come here, mama, I want to whisper something to you." And his mama drew near, and when she drew near to him, he bit her ear off. The crowd, they just gasped why he would do that. And he said, "Mama, it's your fault that I'm here today, because you never, ever corrected me when I stole. You looked the other way, or you accepted what I took." And that stuck with me. And we need to be responsible. Now, there comes a time in life, of course, when you as an individual, if you're a thief and you're listening to me, it's you. It's on you. Not mama, not daddy, not granny, not grandpa. It's on you. Quit stealing my stuff. There's none of us on here wants you to steal our stuff. You go out and work for it yourself. But mamas and daddies and grannies and grandpas, let's push past the stealing to everything. We have a responsibility as mamas and daddies, as caregivers of these kids. Don't let the school system be the ones that teach them their morals. Don't let this school be the ones that teaches them right from wrong. The school is there to teach them reading and writing and arithmetic and geography and science and those kind of things. You're there to teach them how to be the best person that they can be. It's your job. You need to teach your kids that if it doesn't belong to them, they don't take it. And one of the best ways that you can do that is not taking it yourself. When Blade was a little boy, we went to Walmart. And he was sick. And we were there for, I don't know if we were there to get him some medication, was waiting for the pharmacy to fill it. I don't remember all that stuff. It's been too long. But I was pushing the cart, and he was in there, you know, with his little legs dangling, and he was sick. And I had some things in the cart to purchase. And I had gotten a Sprite and had opened the lid, Sprite or 7-Up, one or the other. And it was letting him take little sips of it because he was sick to his stomach. And we got over, I think I was over in the shoes, maybe, I don't remember. But anyway, he threw up, and he threw up everywhere. So we were close to the bathrooms, and I just picked him up and went to the bathroom and cleaned him up, cleaned up, you know, the cart the best I could, all the stuff. And I just went ahead and left with him because I thought, you know, bless his little heart, he's sick. You know, we don't need to be at Walmart. So I took him home. Well, on the way home, I got to thinking, I gave him that Sprite to drink, and we left and we didn't pay for it. So I went back to Walmart the next time I went, getting our groceries, and was going through, and I had a Sprite in my hand. And when I got to the cashier, I said, "Would you ring this up twice?" She looked around for the other bottle of Sprite, and so I explained to her the whole thing about Blade throwing up, and you know, I just threw the bottle of Sprite away and never even thought that I hadn't paid for it, and I want to pay for it now. And so she went ahead and done it, but I got the strangest look from her because I was wanting her to charge me for this bottle of Sprite. And I know that people think that's silly. They're like, oh, that's just, you know, $1, big deal. But that is stealing. Or I wasn't trying to steal it, but it would have been stealing once I had knowledge of it and I didn't make it right. That's how I see it. And so $1 here, $1 there, 10 cents here, 25 cents here, it builds. It builds. And that's how people learn to be thieves, because there's no direction. There's nobody saying, don't take that stuff. It doesn't belong to you. And so we as parents and grandparents take on that responsibility of saying, you're not going to steal. You're not going to lie. I'm telling you, if you had a lie lecture from my granny, you wouldn't lie. Don't let someone else, don't give someone else the power to teach your children things that go against your belief system. And I was listening this morning to all of this stuff that they're trying to push on your kids. And it's not right. You are the one that needs to teach your kids to love others. You're the one that needs to teach your kids. You know, we don't try to hurt others, or we don't try to, be bullies. You are the one. And take that power back from those that have decided that to get to those little ones is the way to change things in this country, by going after those little minds. And those little minds are ripe, guys, ripe for the picking. And we need to tend our vineyards. Tend those vineyards. The Bible says that the little foxes spoil the vines. So they'll come sneaking in there, and you have to tend. You see a problem with your babies. Sometimes your little ones will have a line problem. I didn't mark on the walls with that crayon. I didn't do that. I don't know who did that. You got an issue. And I'm not preaching to you guys anything that I haven't had to preach to my own self. And, we got a big responsibility as parents. And Somebody didn't teach their kid to not steal my stuff. That's what I'm aggravated about. So let's do our job as parents and grandparents. And you know, it wouldn't be me if I didn't say get them into Sunday school. Get them kids into Sunday school. You get into Sunday school yourself. It ain't going to hurt you either. To figure out how we need to live. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. And I'm going to let you guys go because I got to go to the bank and try to get my money back. Anyway, guys, I love y'all. And until next time, this is Josie with Cedar Creek Homestead. And we're gone.